Hello, and welcome to my Comprehending Consciousness series. This is episode 10, which is going to be on Mother Earth. So, thank you so much for joining me. If you're new to the series, let me give a quick little explanation. I'm hoping to give these kind of quick educational videos that are informative, tidbits about commonly used phrases and terms within the conscious community or the new age kind of spiritual community that is really taking shape today. So if you're new to waking up, or you're new to spirituality, or maybe you've been awake for a while but you're just interested in all of these topics, welcome, and thank you so much for joining me. As I've said numerous times, I see these topics as iceberg terms, and so this is my attempt to just give you, my quick tour of my perspective of the tip of this iceberg, Mother Earth in this case, and leave it to you in your own time and place and space to be able to put on your diving gear and hop off the edge and go do your own searching and diving and digging, to define what these things mean for you, because that is truly what this kind of waking up, ascension or evolution or whatever you want to call it is really about. Like waking up to your own consciousness, being able to step into your sovereignty, right? And to decide for yourself things. So yeah, welcome to the series, and that's a brief description of what I hope to accomplish. As I said before, episode 10 is on Mother Earth, Gaia, Sophia, Mother Nature. We have so many names for her, for this beautiful energy, and also for the physical earth, and the astral body she represents, the energetic fields, right? There is so much that goes along with the word and term of Mother Earth, right? So if you haven't seen the previous episodes, I would definitely say check them out, because I talk a little bit about the organic matrix in the episode on the 3D matrix. Basically, kind of to give an example or contrast here of what exactly the 3D matrix is, the overlay that has been placed upon the organic structure in the first place, right? So in this episode, I hope to really quickly give you an insight about a less hippy-dippy kind of ideas on Mother Earth, and also to help you feel grounded and connected to your own connection to that Mother Earth essence, to sacred feminine vibe, to that within you, to help you mother your inner child better, to help you in your interactions and relationships in your life better, to also help with your own mother, or maybe, mother drama and things like that. We have so much kind of inherited trauma that gets passed down, right? So when we start to open our mind up and see our planet in that kind of spectrum and explore the contrast, the different experiences, all of these different ways that the mother essence can be reflected in the world, it helps us to appreciate and respect it within ourselves as well, and within everybody that we see around us. So yeah, I have also made a previous video, which I was going to call episode 10, but it's a little bit off topic. I know I have trouble staying in line sometimes, so I colored a bit out of the lines on that episode. I might put it as a secondary, kind of like a backup 10A episode, because there is a lot of value, and there's just such a broad spectrum when we start to talk about Mother Earth. that it's easy to kind of get carried away in an avenue and then not even address all like the other wonderful reflections or images of her, right? And so in in the episode that I recorded yesterday, I I missed quite a few topics that I really wanted to get on. So I'm hoping stay on point in this video here, and then perhaps I will add that in after and give it more of like a philosophical, spiritual, kind of like conceptual discussion about Mother Energy and Mother Earth. But here in this episode, it's going to go live for 10. I really want to try to bridge this gap that we might have between people who are newly waking up or are waking up from a scientific realm, maybe, or more of a logical, sort of indoctrinated spectrum, to help give a guiding parallel line to run by, sort of, as examples of Mother Earth. Especially, I think that it resonates a lot with me because I did come from a place and space within myself before I was awakening where I really had a ton of misconceptions and preconceived boxes that I really thought the term Mother Earth fit into, with like hippy dippy people who do too many drugs or hallucinogens or whatever, you know, or just like sort of a disconnected, overly materialized, shallow thing that they're calling Mother Earth, you know? And that always just I kind of saw that as, oh, well, I guess that's all it is. And I just, you know, didn't value it. And so with that, I'm hoping for anybody who may be in that kind of situation too, that I can kind of bridge the gap here and give some explanation about why Mother Earth essence as an entity, a logos, something that has a prerogative or priority of its own, right? As a consciousness of its own, it runs perfectly, actually, along with science, logical thinking, and observation, right? Things like patterns, what we witness here. And so to move away from sort of that hippy-dippy vision, I love to tie Mother Earth to Mother Nature, right? And it becomes so undeniable that there is a intelligent design, a consciousness that works cyclically with some kind of symbiotic balancing happening in our natural world, right? In the organic matrix, as I noted before. And so to bring it to a more like 3D sort of logical level here, spend some time observing and thinking, ruminating on our actual natural occurring planet, right? On organic life, on the spectrum of biology, life's growth, the diversity of it, right? When you start to see that deliberate growth, assignment, a working, right, that has seeking happening, science, for some reason, and I really don't want to get off into topics of this, but I do believe it's like a contorted inversion with a serious purpose here. You know, they do it purposefully. It's not a naive mistake. But science just negates that there is like a conscious, infinite intelligence aspect to our planet and to the seasons and to biospheres and biology in general. And so I went through the cattle call indoctrination of university here in the United States in a biology field, right? And so I got such beautiful glimpse of the forced perspective that they only allow you to look in while you're like walking along their little fence or whatever. But I'm a very spiritual person, and just underlying, I always seek meaning and purpose. I see it reflected in natural world, and happening on lower levels of conscious awareness, right? Within the animal spectrum, within insects, within even like the decomposers of that whole life cycle that we have, things like bacteria, mushrooms, molds, and things like that literally work to refresh a cycle. You know, it's hard to observe those things happening and deny the circle as a whole. You know, like well, and they do. They see the circle as a whole, sort of, but they deny that it has a purpose or that it has any forethought to it. They literally stick by random probability, random scope of genetic modification of the survival of the fittest. That just, we cannot observe that frequently working well in nature, right? I mean, there are spectrums of it that you see with, like, you know, the apex predators and the whole life cycle of how animals eat, and that sort of survival of the fittest mold. It fits one perception at one time of just an area of the organic matrix. Yet science has determined that that area is the only area worth looking at or worth discovering within. And so, yeah, of course it fits their perfect parameters, right? But they just want us to forget that there's the whole organic matrix actually happening out here, sort of on its own, with like a clockwork, beautiful creation, and then trying to say that it sporadically happened with no forethought or no conscious creation, right? And they want to explain it in that way only. And so they fit their statistics and things into, you know, making it work that way. And that's a huge role and player in why Earth has been degraded, demoralized, stripped of its resources, abused, trampled on, and made to be just the thing that's here, that is just for the taking, and it's just it's our setting, and it's for our domination, right? And that's kind of been that bait and switch swap that the 3D matrix has like implanted onto all of humanity, a long time ago, of course, you know, but it's still in the workings today. It's breaking, you know, it's coming apart. More and more people are seeing outside the window and being like, wait a minute, there's a beautiful world out there. What am I doing in this corporate building, slaving away on a rat wheel, hamster wheel, excuse me. But anyways, now I'm off on a tangent about creators and the 3D matrix again. It's so hard to stay focused on just the topic of Mother Earth because there are so many layers, and there's so many existing conditions, you know, that are really adding to the comorbidity of Mother Earth, right? And of ourselves, because we are a reflection of her. And so if you really want to heal Mother Earth, if you're really concerned about the planet, the way it's going, the way humanity treats our planet, our resources, all of these things, if you have a longing to help do that, well, you're a reflection of Mother Earth. So spend time tapping into that essence, and spend time dealing with your own shadows, with your own areas that you've put false parameters on yourself, where you're demoralizing yourself, where you are choosing domination over cohabitation, right? Where you are not living symbiotically with the things in your direct reality, in the organic matrix that you inhabit right around you, that you can witness and be a part of, right? This is another beautiful spectrum of Mother Earth, because there's so many layers to her and to us, and a spectrum of where we have capability of interaction and change within, you know? And as collective human species, we can view ourselves on Mother Earth one way. We can also choose and bring that view down deeper and see ourselves as individuals with Mother Earth and do our work that way, right? And especially at the time right now where the collective is malignantly spreading, causing harm in a very negatively oriented way, the more that we can harness positivity in our own cell structuring, we are doing the most best beneficial work for the whole when we ensure that our direct area, our little cell of Mother Earth, is as clean and clear, as positive and free-flowing, as accepting and loving as possible, right? If we value our space, if we see the worth in our direct version of Mother Earth, we take care of our small little section, right? We are stewards of our planet and of our space that we're designated, right? If we are responsible with this, whatever area of Mother Earth that you've been born into, you're designated a steward of that area that you encompass. So the best gift you can give, the biggest change in the world you ever can make, is to be a beautiful steward of that area that you inhabit, right? Getting in touch with what Mother Earth can mean to you, other than just that hippy-dippy out there vision of it, to really bring it in and see it as the organic matrix of Mother Nature, which you inhabit right now, right? It gives you a broader place to do some work within. And I feel, and more purpose too, because you can feel like your little piece really matters. And you have a huge impact on her, and she can have a huge impact on you as well, if you can allow it. And so now I'm pushing past 15 minutes, so I really wanted to quickly touch on one last cue, or sort of like nail in the coffin here, to really harness in the idea that Mother Earth is an entity with cognitive perception, with a plan, with a sovereignty of her own, and that our Earth that we literally live on is so much more than we give it credit for. It's so much more alive and intelligent and capable of co-creating and being, like I said, a cohabitating, right, within that Mother Earth idea. So if you could spend time in your own world thinking about the organic nature that takes place on Earth, right? In all its different varieties, in all its cycles, seasons, like just the parameters of growth when we see the different climates and biospheres around the whole planet, right? We can see that kind of different shaping of different climates. I'm searching for a different word, but I mean, I guess that's really what I'm trying to say. Evolution growing in a certain way there in each space, and it's unique to that space. And then we have a race, a hue of man, right? A coloring of man, which is evolving and traditionally growing and inhabiting within that unique biosphere as well. And of course, we've had the melting pot thing happening, and that has its pros and cons. That's on the spectrum of duality as well, right? It can have a harmonious balancing in the middle that we can seek through blending of cultures, respecting too of space and boundaries, because others we need to respect if they want to maintain the boundaries of their specific diversity, right? That's of their will, that's of their right in their creation. And it's beautiful in itself, and it should be how it runs. But of course, that's not conducive to the 3D matrix, right? It's not conducive to a restrictive system that looks to confine, stick everything in boxes, be able to write algorithms and do all of these statistical probabilities to direct things in the way that they want to, right? That allowing things to grow freely doesn't work in that parameter. And so it's the mind control thing that we have to really start to step out of and work within to really be able to embody the real essence of Mother Earth or Mother Nature, which is like, what is, let live what lives, you know? It is in a beautiful, fertile ground for all possibilities to grow within or to wilt within, right? And with that, right, with all probabilities open and with Mother Earth creating this fertile ground, we still witness patterning. We still see predictability. We still witness or can make judgments, sort of. I hate to even, we can draw conclusions, I guess, about certain cyclic flows that nature, the seasons, the weather, the water cycles. We look at life cycles with apex predators and food chains and webs and all of that, right? Those are observations that we can make and place onto Mother Earth. However, we have to remember, or we should be conscious, that that is a huge indicator that there's a conscious intelligence at work here. There is intelligent design that's being played out. And finally, I want to quickly get on this last inversion, like of the 3D matrix here, to install upon the organic matrix, right? They have to trick us into believing that their definitions of the patterns that they're seeing out there, that they are the same and the only thing that like is valid or worthy or matters or could be used as evidence or logically, looked at because it fits into their 3D box. But the thing is, with that, it cannot be predicted in the way that they want to, because it's conscious creation. It's unpredictable. It's sporadic. It's organic. It has love infused into it, uniqueness. It's from imagination space, the ether, the void, the connection to source, whatever you want to call that whole beingness, the conscious collective. It is drawn. New things are drawn from there. And when we want to ignore that fact, like the Matrix and systems of science and observations in their laboratories have to do, it's rule number one for them, is that they negate the possibility of collective consciousness, of some kind of intelligent design happening. It gets harder to deny when you really honestly look at Mother Nature, because when we look at, and I touched on this, in the last episode about a YouTuber that I love to listen to, because he does a lot of translations and he talks about just out there concepts, with very deep esoteric knowledge into etymology and even back into like ancient Greek and philosophies and Plato and things like that. And I'll put a link for the video in here so that everybody, or his channel at least, because he talks about this numerous times. I can't remember specifically what video it was. But anyways, he says like Mother Earth is like a hippie chick with no shoes on, with like dreadlocks. She's carefree. She's totally like integrated, just goes with the flow, is always there, always can find a work through, always rolling with the punches, always getting back up. That's how she keeps it moving. She just grabs the things that is most near her and makes it work. finds a harmonious balance in between, you know, just like a regular mother does when you have 3 kids running around and they all want to do X, Y, and Z, you know what I mean? And you come from a place of love for each 3 of them, and you try to find that harmonious thing that they might all like to do instead, or incorporate all 3 things, whatever's going to work, you know what I mean? Like, that's the mother energy, and that's the creative energy that harnesses and works through the whole ether, the whole universe, and especially our organic matrix and Mother Nature, right? And I pointed that out in the last video, how this, if you look at the Fibonacci sequence, or you look at Phi, the golden mean, you know, the spiraling that we see everywhere happening in, you know, everything from shells to sunflowers to our faces, to the way that our bone structures, the ratios of those, you know, ratios and simple patterns. She loves a template. She just uses a template, throws it on there, and makes it a unique creation, following a template. You know, if the goal, if it was the way the 3D matrix wanted us to think it was, it followed these rules, it was statistically probability built this way, you know, that uneven curvature wouldn't be as harmonious, as beautiful as it is, because it's that essence that makes it. It's the fact that the golden mean, the perfect in between half is not 1.5. It's not a strict straight down the middle cut of half, equal, both of you get equal. 1.6, 1, 8. It is slightly off kilter. It is unique to the situation, to whichever contrast is needing more work, whichever shadow is a little bit heavier, or maybe the light is stronger so it can help the shadow more. Whatever the case is in that unique creation space, Mother Earth love knows and guides. And it's a necessity with duality, right? It's the law of the organic matrix. And the same thing, you know, and I'll say about the Fibonacci sequence, you know, when you see the repetition of the numbers, maybe it doesn't really always make sense. 1, 2, 5, 8, 13, 20, 21, sorry. You know, if you just get the answers, the sums, it could be difficult to at first realize the pattern, what's going on, because it's not an obvious kind of sequential repetition. But when you see all they're doing is taking what you start with and adding it to what you got next, what do you have? Oh, I have this now. Oh, now take this and add it to all that you had before. And now what do you have? Oh, I have this now. Now take that and add it to all that stuff you had before. Oh, I have this now. Right? That's a template. That is simplistic. That's Mother Nature. That is just using what you have and making something new of it. And when you can incorporate the terms of Mother Earth, Gaia, Sophia, all of these like energies that we see, or if you just think of the planet as a hard rock that we live on, as just the material that it is, or that it could be, you know, that they say it is, you know, that knowledge, that unique repetition, but it's not repetition because it's patterning, it's unique creation that's following a template. I just cannot deny that speaks of higher intelligence. And so that, in essence, is what I choose to identify as Mother Earth. I do see her as lots of other things, and like I said, I'll probably link that video that I initially made yesterday that just got a little too deep and a little too philosophical, so that maybe you can hear other aspects of my definition of her, and enjoy them, and you know, cherry pick what you choose to identify with and what you don't. Don't feel like you have to resonate with that or resonate with it right now, you know. Maybe just put it aside for later, and maybe later things will click together for you in your own way, you know? But I do highly, highly recommend, please use your eyes and your heart and get outside and view your beautiful version of Mother Earth out there. Be thankful and grateful for her. Try to have conversation or even just rumination or introspection within your own self of what or how you can interact with Mother Earth and maybe what your contribution is to her. Or maybe if you haven't been conscious of her and you're feeling guilty, or you're feeling like, oh, I could have done better, I should have done more, oh, I've been terrible, I've been, demoralizing and degrading to her and myself. Beautiful. She's right here clapping for you, so happy, and so am I, that you realize the discretions, that you realize mistakes and faults. There's beauty in that fall, in failure, because you brush yourself up and you get up stronger. It's wiser, right? And at the end of the day, Mother Earth holds space for us purposefully to do that. So I hope that you will take a chance to just enjoy maybe a tree or your grass, or breathe the beautiful air, or a sunset, whatever it might be. I hope you'll enjoy Mother Earth, and I hope that I've opened up a spectrum of different ideas of what that term can mean. Thank you so much for joining me. Oh, and I hope you will join me for literally, or really episode 11, which will come next, which will be on Earth's ascension and this gateway to 5D and sort of like the logos of Mother Earth. So thanks so much for joining me today, and I will talk to you soon in episode 11.